JG, turn your screen off.
Hey folks, Patrick Francoeur here. We're going to get started in just a couple of minutes. We're waiting for some late comers to join us. And while you're at it, if you're chatting, please feel free. Let us know who you are, where you're at, where you're from. We're going to get this webinar started right away. Jean-Guy is getting ready and prepped. We're going to get started in about 2 minutes. So we're going to get going. Once again, my name's Patrick Francoeur, by the way, for those of you who haven't met me. I'm the CEO of the Real Estate Investment Network. We're throwing this out to you live to have some fun. So, hello, Katerina. Nice of you to join us. We're going to have a great meeting tonight. Gosh, I'm really excited with all that we've got going on. This is a live call or a live webinar that we're doing, a live Zoom. Jean-Guy Francoeur is sitting in the sidelines. We're just going to wait for some additional people to come on in. Hey, Luke, how are you doing? Hope all is well from Southern Alberta. So this is the great thing about this. So I just want to say welcome to everybody and excited about that. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Patrick Francoeur. I'm the CEO of the Real Estate Investment Network. We're putting together this live webinar tonight to share with you the 8 steps to building your legacy with real estate. Hey, Don, how are you doing? This is going to be a great night. So you're looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it as well, and as is Jean-Guy. So like I say, we're just waiting for some additional people to get in. As often, sometimes what happens with these webinars is technical stuff happens and people in the background going, how do I get in here and how do I do all this? And that's all good, by the way. And we're going to get going right away. So about another 60 seconds or so, and we're going to make things happen. As I said on the chat, feel free. Put your name in, where you're from. Wow, Thailand, I should say. What the heck was that? Say, that's awesome. So welcome. Mississauga. Gosh, we got people from all over the place joining us, so that's great. Please keep it coming. Name, where you're from, and we're going to have some fun with this. So once again, I'm going to, we'll start to wind things up a little bit and get things moving as people join us. So my name is Patrick Francoeur, and I'm the CEO of the Real Estate Investment Network. Tonight we put together this very, very powerful webinar and guiding you into the 8 key steps to building your legacy with real estate. Now, a little bit about my background. I am, as I said, CEO of the Real Estate Investment Network. I've been a business owner for 35 years. I've been a real estate investor for about 20 years. I own a lot of real estate in Western Canada, and I'm excited for what we're doing tonight in terms of sharing some of what REIN is all about as well. For 26 years, the Real Estate Investment Network has been providing education to people just like you to take and build and create their financial futures with real estate. Tonight, Jean-Guy is here to kind of give us a lowdown on how those 8 top tips so that you walk away tonight with some real meat on the bone. That's what I like to say. This is really getting in depth into some of the things, the 8 steps that you can take to creating and building a financial future with real estate. We've been doing it a long time and we're excited for it. Now, as I start to introduce and lead into Jean-Guy Francoeur, it's important that you also know a little bit about him. Now, Jean-Guy Francoeur joined the team, the REIN team, and is really a seasoned investor. He's been with REIN a number of years, actually started as a REIN member, and really learned a lot. But he's primarily, his background is real estate investing. He's a business owner. He has bought and sold many businesses. He's also marketing specialist, particularly with social media, but he's going to walk you through tonight and talk about real estate. Now, as a business owner, he's also an author. He's a best-selling author, and he's very well known for his best-selling book called The Messy Manager. And Jean-Guy brings with him so much real estate investing experience, so much business experience, so much relevant information that he'll share with you tonight in how to build your real estate investing entrepreneur business, how to really invest in real estate in an impactful, in a powerful way so that you can have a legacy that supports your family, that really drives your financial future, and you get to live your dreams. Think about freedom of time, freedom of money, freedom of knowledge, freedom of purpose, all of the things that financial freedom provides us, and the steps that you can take starting tomorrow, maybe even starting tonight, to start to build your financial legacy, your real estate legacy, if you will, and your real estate future. Now, I'll give you a quick story about how I got into real estate myself 20 years ago. I was, guess what, a guest at a RAIN meeting, at a Real Estate Investment Network meeting. And I've been a business owner for 35 years. I'd grown my business to a point where I had some capital. And in business, I had mentors and I had people that I admired. And I admired those people for their success in business. And what I came to learn from them, and as much as I saw how successful they were in business, for example, or in their careers, the one thing that they all had in common, in spite of all their success in business and in their careers, was they all owned real estate. So 20 years ago, of course, I was 20 years younger. I was in my business. It was starting to have a little bit of success. And I thought to myself, as a business owner, I need to set up my financial future. And I knew that real estate, based on my mentors, those people that I admired, and I saw what they had achieved outside of their business, which was to also own real estate. So I started learning and getting the education, the support, the knowledge that I needed to start building a financial future through investing in real estate. Now, this many years later, I own many, many doors. I also continue to own my businesses and operate my businesses. One of them happened to be a little plug for my business in Edmonton called Professional Skate Service, or Pro Skate, and located in Edmonton, been there 35 years, and really proud of that business as it continues to do what it does, and also to build my real estate portfolio. And so that's a little bit about my background. I got involved with RAIN. Don R. Campbell, some of you know him as a best-selling author in real estate investing in Canada, among 7 other best-selling books. And Don and I got to know each other, and he invited me to join him and the team back in 2007. Today, Richard Dolan and I, 5 or 6 years ago, whatever it was, Richard Dolan and I, my partner out of Toronto, we bought the business from Don and have partnered with him and are building the RAIN team, the RAIN community, and really taking what we want to do with real estate investors and supporting them in having success like we've enjoyed to the next level. Tonight, with JG and Jean-Guy Francoeur, as you'll get to know him as JG, he's going to share with you these 8 really critical steps to building your legacy with real estate. He's put a lot of time, a lot of energy, and a lot of effort into this. Jean-Guy, as I said, is a very experienced real estate investor. He's a very experienced business owner. He's a best-selling author, The Messy Manager, and he's here with you tonight, and looking forward to him joining us in just a moment.
Well, thank you, Patrick. Wow, what an introduction, man. I'm honored, man. I'm honored. Thank you so much for that generous intro. I so appreciate it. And thanks so much for giving your time and being here to introduce me and to welcome all these great folks. I can't believe we got people from all around the world here, which is incredible. Thailand and anywhere in Western Canada and all over Ontario. We even got some from Quebec, which is absolutely incredible.
So cool.
Very, very cool. So folks, I want to be the second, because Patrick was the first, to welcome you and thank you for being here. Thank you for making the time. I am going to deliver some absolute golden nuggets tonight, whether you're an experienced investor or whether you've never invested before. And I encourage you in the chat. And by the way, my talk is going to be very interactive. My talk is going to be very involved. So I'm going to get you chatting. I'm going to get you to engage in the chat and tell us about yourself. And so start by telling us if you're already an investor or if you're looking to start becoming an investor. If this is maybe the first door or second door you own, or if you already have a portfolio, give us an idea, and this will help us tailor the talk as we go for you, and I'd appreciate that. But the fact is you gave your time. You came here, you gave your time. I hope that you take notes. I hope that this is going to be incredibly impactful, because I plan on delivering a step-by-step game plan for you. In fact, the 8 steps to building your legacy with real estate. So thank you again so much for coming. Now, keep in mind that it's all a matter of perspective. You know, when it comes to real estate, it's all a matter of perspective. And some of you, and this is a funny funny thing, but if you're a seller and this is your home, and let's just say this is your home, this is how you see your home. So this is how you see it. This is how you view it. This is your perspective on the world. On the flip side, if you're a buyer of this home, this is maybe your perspective on how you see the purchase of the home. So different perspectives there. On the flip side, if you're a bank appraiser, you might see it more like this, vanilla, very white, very vanilla. And on the flip side, if you're the tax appraiser, you may view it like this, which is, you'd want to keep the tax bills nice and high. That's their job. So as you can see, I say that a bit as a tongue-in-cheek and funny joke, just to show you that it's all a matter of perspective. And this event is also a matter of perspective. How you come at it from which perspective is going to determine how you view it. Now, before I get started, I'm going to ask for your permission if I can just share with you my story for a few minutes. And I'm going to try to be as quick as possible here, but I think it's important that in order to understand how I got into real estate and why I got into real estate, that you understand where I come from a little bit and my story in terms of how I got into this. So if you'd indulge me for just a few minutes, I'd like to go into it. It all started for me in 2004. It was a really tough phone call I got one day from the hospital. They said my dad had just been admitted to the hospital, and they said that I needed to rush down right away. So I did. I rushed down right away, and the doctor took me aside and said, "I have good news and I have bad news." And I said, "Okay, doc, what's the good news?" He said, "Well, the good news is your father has the will to live." I said, "Okay, what's the bad news?" The bad news is he's retaining water in his body. We don't know why, but he's got about 70 pounds of water in his body, and he's ballooned to like 330 pounds over of his weight now, and his organs just can't take it, and we don't know if he's going to make it through the night. So I held on to my dad's hand that night, and I said, "Dad, just hang on, just one more night, just one more night." But it was in that moment of intensity. It was in that moment of not knowing if I was going to have a dad, if I was going to have a father figure, if I was going to have counsel, if I was going to have my best friend, if I was going to have to figure out this life thing all by myself, then I had to make some decisions. And back then, I didn't know. Today at RAIN, we teach a concept called the beliefs, which is what's your dream? What's your beliefs? What's your perfect day look like? And back then, I didn't know it as my beliefs, but I had to make some decisions on how I wanted to be and how I want to live my life. And back then, I decided these four things. I decided that I was going to live passionately and have fun every single day. If it ain't fun, I ain't doing it. Secondly, I wanted to travel the world and help shape future generations through entrepreneurship. I wanted to do good and do well at the same time. I wanted to link profits to purpose. And the last thing is I wanted to control my time and control my income. And the picture that came to mind was this guy, Richard Branson. He was creating jobs, not having a job, and that's what I wanted to do. The only one problem is I was completely broke. I was a university student at the time. I had no money in the bank account. Every line of credit was completely full. Every credit card was maxed. I learned to pay one credit card with another credit card. It was a bad situation, but I knew that I had to start where I was today. I knew I had to get resourceful. I knew I had to start moving in the direction of my dream. Even though I didn't quite know how I was going to get there, I knew I had to start. So my big game plan was to start a health and wellness company. My girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife, is a registered massage therapist. And myself, I was going to be a businessman. So I was going to do sales and marketing, and she was going to do the massage services and the in-office wellness programs and all of that various things. So my big plan, if you really boil it down, my big plan was to put my wife to work. She doesn't think that's so funny. But man, I tell you, the struggle was real. It was tough. We couldn't afford rent. We couldn't afford car payments. We couldn't afford food. I remember one time I put the picture of the Tim Hortons there because I got a medium coffee at Tim Hortons. It cost $1.22 at that time. And we got in a big fight because we couldn't afford $1.22. It was absolutely devastating. But you know what? I wouldn't trade those moments for anything now, because it was those moments of struggle that taught me to really cut my teeth in sales and really cut my teeth in marketing and really study from the greats of the greats. And I had to put in my 10,000 hours, and that's exactly what I did. And then one day I found the trick, and I found what I was missing. And my business went from 300 clients to 3,000 clients in 6 months. I then took that success, and at that time we didn't have any employees, and then we ended up having 30 employees. And then when we started, we had no offices, and I ended up building 5 offices. And then I took that success and I went to a cleaning company and I sold it 12 months later. And then I built a product distribution company and I sold it 12 months later. I built an internet software company and I sold it 4 months later. And all the while I was building and selling these companies, I was documenting my journey. And that's when I wrote the international best-selling book, Messy Manager. And it was released, and it became an international bestseller in 14 countries. And I ended up building a company. In 2009, I founded a marketing company, and we ended up growing that between 2009 and 2018. We ended up growing that to 160 employees in 14 countries. We did 221 events a year, and I've served over 2,000 plus clients with that marketing company. It was absolutely epic. And probably the most important and cool thing about it is the very person I wanted to emulate, I started doing business with this person. I started speaking on stages with Richard Branson. I started doing various things with his various companies. I've been in business partners, and clients of mine have been Bob Proctor, and I've done business with Tony Robbins and spoken on the same stage as him, and other greats like Dan Kennedy and Jay Abraham. And the guy on the right is Rod Smith, who's a 2-time Super Bowl champ. We were business partners. And all of this because of those decisions I made early on, and the resourcefulness. I really dug deep to find this resourcefulness, and I started a couple, and today I still own these companies with my wife. We own a spa in Peterborough, Ontario. We own a travel agency. We own a brand called Powered by Urban. But I'll tell you this, and there's a very important lesson. In the first 10 years of my career, folks, the first 10 years of my career, I learned how to generate money. I learned how to grow businesses from 0 to 7 and 8 figures like that. I learned how to build teams. I learned how to scale companies across the globe. But what I realized is that it wasn't so much about generating revenue, and it's not about how hard you work for your money. It's about how hard your money works for you. And I made that connection. If you're taking notes, you might want to jot that one down, because that's a real nugget. Because in 2014, I made this realization, and I founded a real estate company called Vischer Property Group, and that is when I became a client and really started to learn from Rain. And I started working with these 2 fine folks, this Patrick Francie on the left and then Richard Dolan on the right, and president and CEO of the company. And from 2014 to today, I built up a very nice portfolio of multifamily, commercial, mixed use. I've done some land developments in Huntsville, Aurelia, and Peterborough. These are my areas of expertise. But I've done a lot of this with some joint venture partners. And one of the joint venture partners, and probably my favorite joint venture partner, and I'm going to finish where I started, is my dad. And today I'm happy to report that he did make it through that night. And they found out what was wrong. It was actually a blood clot. And they drained 70 pounds of water. Get this, guys, 70 pounds of water out of his body in one night. He essentially became like a raisin. It was incredible. But today we're the best of friends. We're business partners. We both live our beliefs every single day. I've had the pleasure of traveling with my dad all over the world. That's our gold shovel there. You can see we do a lot of land development together. And it's an absolute hoot. And that's really the story of how I got into business and how I came about, but more importantly, how I figured out how real estate was really my answer to my beliefs. And I got to ask you, before I really start rolling into the 8 steps, and I'm going to roll into these really, really quickly, is why are you here? Type in the chat and tell us why you're here. What brought you here today? What brought you here this evening? Some of you are early morning in Thailand, and some of you are in the afternoon in BC, and some of you are right here, my time zone in Eastern Standard Time, 7:20. What brought you here? You're investing your time, your effort. What brought you here? Put it in the chat for us and let us know what brought you here. And you should know what brought you here. There's something at you that brought you here today. And I got to tell you, folks, that I've spoken to over 1,223 events just in the last 5 years. And why you come to a place is critical to figuring out how you're going to get to the next place. And that's what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about where you are and where you want to go and how we can help you get there, and how this 8-step system I'm going to teach you is going to help contribute and get you there. I can tell you why I'm here. And this is just me, my personal mission is to impact future generations through entrepreneurship, specifically through real estate investment entrepreneurship. I want to make you not just a real estate investor, but a real estate investment entrepreneur. I want you to take your real estate and turn it into a business. I want you to change the dynamics of your family life forever. I want you to change your family lineage through real estate. And hopefully this 8-step system this evening is going to show you some of that. I'm here to deliver on that mission for myself. Now, who thinks that I'm going to try and sell something tonight? Who thinks that? Well, of course, you know I'm going to try and sell you something, but I make you this promise. At no time throughout this presentation am I going to try to sell you something until the very end. We have a seminar and I'm going to talk about it only at the end. For the next 60 minutes, I'm going to give you everything I've got. I'm going to leave it all on the table. I'm going to give you a step-by-step system on how to build a real estate legacy. And at the end, I'll talk about my seminar, but that's it. And it's a boot camp, and it's incredible, and it's expensive, and it's not for most people. But for some of you, it'll be the next step for you. But I'm not going to talk about that anymore until the end. Now, I must tell you that all of the stories you hear this evening, and I'm going to interlace this 8-step with various stories to show you other people who've done it, to show you other people who've done what you want to do, because it's important to know that no matter where you are today, there are ways to get forward. People have achieved this thing, and RAIN, the Real Estate Investment Network, has been absolutely privileged for the last 26 years to be guiding and being the Sherpa of people. I mean, we're talking about RAIN being responsible for 151,000 clients. That's how many clients we've served. You think we've learned something over those 26 years? We've served over 151,000 people. We've done, our clients have bought over 38,000 properties, done over $5 billion, that's billion with a B, $5 billion of deals, absolutely incredible. And what our research has shown is that Canadians are not financially prepared. You know, the average 54 to 56-year-old, the average savings they have without an employer pension is somewhere between $250 and $21,000. Most Canadians are not prepared. We know that 68% don't have a retirement plan. You know, 34% of Canadians say winning the lottery is part of their retirement plans. That is straight up crazy. That is straight up not a good idea. I'm going to show you how to correct this. 62% of people had to retire early. They weren't quite ready for their retirement plans. They had a crucible moment, a crucible event in their lives that made them retire early. 20% have 5 years or less of income and savings. These are daunting statistics. Now, when it comes to retirement, many of you, and I know for myself, this was a big driver for me of why I got into real estate. And when we look at what retirement is, we really got to ask ourselves, what is retirement? And this is the definition that I've put together, and you may want to adopt it. It's up to you. But this is a definition I've put together by working with so many of the greats over the years, the Tony Robbins and the Bob Proctors and all of these people from all around the world that I've worked with. This is the definition that we've come together, which is doing what you want, when you want, with who you want, and having the freedom to be a contribution. And that last part is really key. A freedom to be a contribution. And nobody knows that better than people like Patrick Francie, who've been doing this for so long because they want to be a contribution. That's what RAIN is being, as a contribution. But in those moments of crucible events, you have to be prepared. And nobody knows that more than Jane Blofeld, who is a best-selling author and a real estate investment entrepreneur herself. And she said, she asked the question, are you prepared for the sudden long-term disability or the sudden death of a significant other in your life, like a husband or a wife or a business partner? Nobody knows this reality more than Jane. You know, when Jane's husband, who's a former jet fighter pilot, he was tragically killed in a plane that he was piloting with 3 other passengers. And Jane was sitting on a deck at the time, a sunny weekend, enjoying the sun, basking in the sun, when she saw the police walking up to her house, and her husband was uncharacteristically way late, and she knew something was seriously wrong. And luckily, through being a real estate investment entrepreneur, she was okay. And I hope that you're okay, but I got to ask you, are you prepared for those crucible moments? Now, some of you are not necessarily concerned about the crucible moments. What you want is financial freedom by design. What you want is more life. What you want is more money, more time, more fun, and more passion. You may want your dream car. You may want to take a trip through the Swiss Alps. You may want to fly first class and drink the finest champagne known to man while cruising at 40,000 feet. You may want those 6-star vacations while you enjoy the beach and the sand is flowing through your toes. That's what you might want. Incidentally, that's my last vacation a couple weeks ago, and that island is Isla Major, is in Mexico. Incredible island. You may want to just grow old with your family without fearing money, without fearing lack, without worrying about these worries of money and stuff. You may just want to spend more time with your family. And all of this is possible. But you need to ask yourself, why are you here? And we're going to get back to that very question in a second. Now, the first step 1 of my 8 steps, is to understand why real estate. You know, in today's day and age, you have a lot of options. You have so many different options that you can go with in terms of investments. Why real estate? Did you know that the wealthiest 1% of North America's population hold real estate as part of their long and short-term investment strategy? But the question is, why do the world's wealthiest know this? Why? What is so different about real estate? Well, here's a beautiful chart that really illustrates it. See, real estate, unlike stocks, bonds, and savings, offers the 5 things you need to really make your investments rock. High cash yield, we'll show you that today. Equity buildup, so you're building equity. The power of leverage, it's a hard asset that you can touch, feel, and know that it's yours. And there's significant tax advantages. If you compare that to, for example, stocks, in stocks, you get a good equity buildup, but there's no hard asset there, and there's definitely no tax advantage. There's a little bit of leverage, but not nearly as much. Whereas you look at bonds, and there's a little bit of a yield, not nearly as much as cash flow in real estate, but there's a bit of a yield, but there's no equity buildup, there's no leverage, and there's no hard asset. And savings, well, let me tell you, that's the worst option. You know, if you got money in the bank right now, if your plan is saving to retirement, first of all, you're not going to get there. And second of all, every year your money is essentially evaporating at 2 to 3%. That means if you have $100,000 in the bank, or call it $1 million in the bank in cash, you lost $20,000 to $30,000 that year because of inflation. It's incredible. Real estate is the answer. Now, we at RAIN are Google partners. The RAIN Institute is a Google partner. And as a result, we have access to proprietary information, proprietary search criteria to know what's going on in the world because we're a Google partner. And we're actually the only real estate investment company in Canada that's a Google partner. And this is what we know that the wealth are investing in. The wealthy are investing in multifamily, medical office, industrial, retail, and so on and so forth. This is what the wealthy are investing in. And this is just to give you a snapshot. But if you break it down, and if you're taking notes, the next 4 points you're really going to want to jot down, there are 4 major reasons, in my opinion, why real estate's the answer. 1, because of leverage. I'm going to show you this evening through math, and don't worry, don't freak out. We're not going to do a lot of math, but I'm going to show you how the power of leverage can really take your investments to the next level. I'm going to show you how real estate can be predictable. Now, you can't believe I just said that. You can't believe that I talked about an investment being predictable, but I'm going to show you a system this evening that you can literally hold in your hand the crystal ball of real estate. I'm going to show you that. It's predictable. And the thing that I love about real estate, and this is my favorite, I'm in control, or in this case, you're in control. See, if you match the right strategy to the right market, you're going to win every single time. It is if you're following a system like the one I'm going to show you this evening, it's difficult to lose in real estate. Not only you're in control with the right strategy and the right market, you actually have 5 different ways to win, and we're going to cover those. And that's the thing. There are, like a chess match, there are many ways to win. 5, in fact, 5 ways to win in real estate. So no matter what's going on, there's different ways to win. So let's cover those 5 ways. Now, I hope you're taking notes. So you want to jot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on your piece of paper. And by the way, folks, thank you so much for being so, engaged. I see a lot of you are typing and chatting and asking questions. Keep that up. That's incredible. Okay, so here are the 5 ways to win. Number 1, cash flow. Now, the way we present 5 ways to win is, think of it like a 5-course meal. As you can tell, I like to eat. That wasn't funny. It was kind of funny. I'm going to present this like a 5-course meal. First, we're going to start with the appetizer. That's the cash flow of the property. And I'm going to show you that this evening. The salad is the appreciation of the property. The main entree, so your main meat and potatoes, the thing that is guaranteed more than anything else, is principal buy down. And I love it. And I'm going to show you, I'm going to show you examples with real numbers, and you're going to love it. Not only am I going to show you real numbers that I put together, I'm actually going to share with you one of my properties where I'll show you the 5 ways to win. Number 4 is designed appreciation, or what others might call forced appreciation, which is where you do renovations to bring up the value. So you're propping up the value through other investments like renovations of some type. And number 5, and probably one of my favorite, is an annuity. Now, I don't want to introduce any fancy language, but let's break down what an annuity is. An annuity is something that spits out money. And without getting into all the financial discussions and all the financial definitions, I want you to look at it like this. See, for me, when I step back and I look at a piece of property, I don't see the bricks, I don't see the roof, I don't see the siding, I don't see the windows, I don't see any of that. What I see is an ATM machine. I literally see an ATM machine that is spitting money at me every single month. That is an annuity. That sucker will continue to pay if you take care of it, and if you nurture it, and if you do what you need to do, and if you become a real estate investment entrepreneur and you treat it like a business, that little thing called a real estate is going to throw money at you every single month, like an ATM machine. It's like having your own personal ATM machine. It's incredible. And I'm going to talk about, so there's 5 ways to win: cash flow appreciation, principal buy down, design appreciation, and annuity. Which begs the question, Jean-Guy or JG, if this is so good, why doesn't everyone do real estate? That's a good question. I'm glad you asked it. Step 2 is to understand the 8 great weights. Now, we call these the 8 great weights because they're heavy and they make people wait. You know, Warren Buffett once said, he was asked, when's the best time to plant an oak tree? His answer was 30 years ago. The next best time is right now. It's the same with real estate. The best time for you to buy a property was 25 years ago or 30 years ago. The next best time is right now. And I'm going to show you why. But these great weights really weigh heavy on people. And I'm going to address every single one of them today because I don't want anything stopping you. I don't want anything stopping you. And the fact is that financial freedom, which is a lot of what you guys are looking for, financial freedom is nothing but a mindset. See, I once had a mentor when I was really young in my early 20s. He said, financial freedom is a mindset. I said, really? Well, I don't get it. He says, everybody's rich. I said, really? I'm not rich. He says, no, you're just a little short on money right now, but everybody's rich. And when it comes to these 8 great weights, this is what weighs heavy on people. This is what is actually stopping you from jumping into real estate. If you haven't started yet, this is what's stopping you. In fact, this is what's stopping you from most things in your life, these 8 great weights. And they look like this: no money, no time, no opportunity, wrong economy, family issues of some type, or some wrong partner, wrong husband, wrong wife, wrong brother, wrong sister, or some other family issues, or maybe just a lack of knowledge. Now, these 7, and by the way, if you've counted them, this is the 7 of the 8. I'll give you the 8th one at the end in a second. These 7 are all resources. They're all resources of some way, shape, or form, okay? And these are all rationalizations. That's what they are. They're rationalizations. And do you know what a rationalization is? A rationalization is you rationally lying to yourself. This is you rationally lying to yourself. All of those make sense. All of those make sense why you couldn't get started. But over the years, I've done a ton of work with this man. I've done an amazing amount of work with Tony Robbins. And you know, one thing that he's taught me that has stuck home more than anything else is you will never have all of the resources you need to achieve your dreams. What you need is to be in a state of resourcefulness. Jot that down if you're taking notes. You want to be in a state of resourcefulness, not have abundant resources. See, the fact is, folks, is that these 7 things, no matter what stage of life, and even Patrick would tell you, and it doesn't matter who you are, Richard Branson would tell you that you're always gonna have some issue with no money, no time, there's always a component of no money, no time, no opportunity, wrong economy, so on and so forth. These always creep up. And I know because when I started, I had nothing. I was up to my eyeballs in debt. I was drowning in it. Today, it's a much different story for me, but I could tell you what, the opportunities that I'm looking at today, like right now, for example, I'm looking at doing an entire development on an entire resort project. This thing is massive. And you know what? I don't have the financial resources myself to pull it off because it's a massive development. I mean, we're talking about hundreds of acres of development. This is huge. So even I could use this excuse of no money. The fact is I'm not worried about the resource. I'm in a state of resourcefulness. That's the key. Now, the 8th great way is fear. And this one's probably my favorite, but probably the worst. The reason is because it can't be beat. See, fear is you got 2 choices. You're either going to forget everything and run, or you're going to face everything and rise. Those are your 2 choices. And fear, in fact, is something that you can't beat. You can only act courageously in the face of fear. If you're writing notes, jot that down. I can only act courageously in the face of fear. Now, fear comes from a place of ignorance, by the way. That's where fear originates. Fear originates from ignorance, which means lack of knowing, which means lack of knowledge, which means not knowing. Now, with intelligent action, which means knowing what to do and then facing your fear and doing it. So feel the fear and do it anyway. You may want to repeat that. Feel the fear and do it anyways. That's intelligent action. That will allow you to break through the fear, but you're never going to get rid of the fear. You know why? And I wasn't planning on saying this, but this is really good. Well, at least I find it's good. I hope you do too. But fear, again, is just a level. You know, the things that I'll give you a perfect example. My first real estate deal, I read on the offer and on the original financing documents, I read every word 6 times. I literally had my lawyer on the phone for 3 hours, and the experienced real estate investors on this webinar might feel the same thing. I kept my lawyer on the 3 hours discussing every element, every single piece of paper, every word, what it meant, how I can get out. I was fearful, but I did it anyways, okay? And then just 2 short years later, I was buying property in Ontario while I was on vacation in Germany, sight unseen, sending money, wiring money across, just because I had learned to deal with the fear. And it's only because I created intelligent action and I broke through the fear. That's the only thing that'll get you on the other side of fear. And there's literally no better example than Dave Toynbee for this. You know, Dave in his early 20s, I got to tell you this story because Dave has an incredible story, so inspirational to me and millions of others. You know, Dave in his early 20s went to the bar to have a drink with some friends, and he got caught up in a bar brawl. Now, he wasn't involved in it, but he got caught up in it. He got jumped on and he went down, right? So he hit his head hard when he came down, and he hit his head so hard, in fact, that he was in a coma for an entire week. And you can imagine in your early 20s, man, the world is just ahead of you. You are just literally warming up to take on the world. And this happens. And he woke up a week later out of the coma, and he learned that he was paralyzed with a brain injury and permanently had limited physical capability. No job, no prospects, was able to take on the world just a week earlier, now faced with this very harsh reality. And you know what? If there's anybody who had an excuse, if there's anyone in this world who had a legit great weight, it was Dave. But he realized instead of looking for what he couldn't do, he started looking for what he could do. And he realized that his brain was firing in different ways. He realized that back before the injury, he was more left-brained. And now he was more right-brained. He was more methodical. He was taking notice of concepts differently. He was more, step by step. He had a different way of looking at things. He was numbers driven. He was calculated. He decided to put that to good use. He decided to build a real estate portfolio, and he took on the world through real estate. He became a real estate investment entrepreneur. And now today, I can't even tell you how many properties he owns because he owns so many. It's incredible. And he's the one who said, if you want something bad enough, you'll get over all of your excuses and you'll go get it. And Dave, my hat's off to you, pal, because you inspire me and you inspire millions of others. And thank you for that. So step 3 of the 8 steps is to determine your target. Now, folks, I know so far you're thinking, okay, I'm at step 3, and this guy, albeit he's good looking, that was a joke, by the way, he hasn't talked about real estate yet. I've actually been talking a lot about real estate. If you're paying real close attention, this has everything to do with real estate. And I'm going to get to some math, and I'm going to get to some case studies. I'm going to show you some numbers. I'm going to show you some cash flow in a second. But before you can get to where you're going, you have to know where you're going. And to create financial freedom, you require to have a laser focus objective and target to where you're going. So let's look. And after serving 151,000 clients ourselves, 26 years in business, and my personal experience in having done this so many times now, I can tell you, these are the most common reasons why people are here. These are the most common targets that people set. First, retirement. That's why I got into real estate, and I'll tell that story in a second. Secondly, financial freedom. Thirdly, eliminate debt. Fourth, grow your net worth. Fifth, increase active income, which means cash in your pocket today. Sixth, leave a legacy. Save for kids' education. There's no better savings for your kids' education than real estate. I'll tell you that right now. Forget RESPs, forget all that stuff. Buy them a duplex, run it for 18 years, and then when it's time, turn it over to them and say, here, it's either your building, or you can sell it, go to school, you could sell it, start a business, or you could sell it and travel the world, whatever you decide. But I'm telling you, saving for kids' education through real estate is incredible. Or you might want freedom of purpose or freedom of relationship. You might want to do what you want, when you want, with who you want, and have the freedom to be a contribution. So let me ask you, let me take 30 seconds. Let me take 10 seconds. Look at this list and jot down one. That's important, by the way, what I just said. Sorry, I'm digressing now, but many people would say, I want those all. I want it all. That's like I ask people all the time, how much money do you want to make? They say lots. Well, how much is lots? Nobody knows what lots means. Lots to you might mean $100,000. Meanwhile, there's people on this call, they make $100,000 before 9 a.m. on Monday morning. That's not lots to them. Lots would be 100 million. So determine your target and your primary target. What's your one? If you could only achieve one of these, what would it be? Jot it down. While you do that, let me tell you this story about another one of our clients, Janet LePage. You know, this woman is absolutely incredible. Started in her mid, and I want to show you, and I'm telling you this story because I want to show you the power of being very, very clear on your objective. See, when she started in her mid-20s, she came to us as a client, and she was working full-time for a job. And her primary target was, in fact, to get out of her job. That's what she wanted. She wanted to get out of her job. She was working for a utility company. She wanted out. That's it. Now, this woman, she's a self-made powerhouse now. Absolutely incredible. And what she's achieved, okay, and she brought so much energy to in the first 2 years of, while still working full-time, after learning some of the strategies we taught her, she bought and sold 58 homes in 2 years. Just get that. That's incredible. That is resourcefulness. Do you think, let me ask you this question. Do you think she had the money to do that? Do you think she had the time? She thought she had the time? Of course, she didn't have the time and she didn't have the money right up until she did it. 58 homes over 2 years. Now today, Janet's an absolute powerhouse. She's the co-founder of Western Wealth Capital. She's a real estate investment entrepreneur herself. And she told me that you only need to take the first step and get into action. That's what she did. She was only worried about the first step. Now today, after flipping all those houses, 58 in 2 years, while working full time, now she's co-founded Western Wealth Capital, and her portfolio has a value over $510 million. Now, are we all going to do that? No. Do we all have to do that? No. But I'll tell you what, she achieved her target. She achieved her target. She's no longer in that job. She's founded this massive company now, has a portfolio of over $510 million, but it all started with that first step. It all started with that first step she took. And my hat's off to Janet. Now, step 4 of 8. We're halfway there, folks, almost halfway there. We're going to do some math. Okay, I can feel your energy even though it's through the computer. And you're thinking, great. Now, some of you are thinking, yahoo, math. Yes. Some of you and most of you are thinking, oh, is this guy serious? We're not going to do math. I hate that stuff. Well, let me give you a pop quiz. Because if you can do this pop quiz, then you can do the math we're going to do. Here's the pop quiz. You ready? 3, 2, pop quiz. What's the answer? Okay, you're good. You passed. If you can do this math, then you can easily do the math I'm going to show you. And I want you to start to love math. I tell you, when I first started, I wasn't a big fan of math myself. I was not a big fan. But I learned to love math. And you know why? Because math is money, baby. Math is money. If you're going to discover anything, it's that math is money in the real estate game. Now, let me show you a case study. I'm going to show you a step-by-step case study of doing the math and how to do it right and also how to do it wrong, because a lot of people do this step wrong. And if you do this wrong, this is how you make a rookie mistake. And we call these people unsophisticated real estate investors, real estate investment entrepreneurs. They end up making these rookie mistakes. So let's go through and show you the right and the wrong way to do math. So let's go to get into it. So if you purchased a property for $450,000, and let's just say it was a duplex. Let's say it was at 2 units, a 3-bedroom on the upper and a 2-bedroom on the lower. Now, by the way, some of you watching this are in Thailand, where for $450,000 you could probably buy several buildings. Some of you are downtown Toronto and you can't even buy a condo for $450,000, let alone a duplex. Some of you are in Quebec where this is possible. It doesn't matter where you live. If you're thinking, I can't buy anything for $450,000 where I live, first of all, don't worry about it, because you may not be investing where you live necessarily. I'm actually going to talk about that in step 7, which is know your market. Know where you should be investing. I'm going to show you a formula to actually determine that. But just follow me on this example. If you have a purchase price of $450,000, you're going to put a standard 20% down payment, which is $90,000. Now your mortgage is $360,000, which is $450 minus 90 is $360. And let's just say you do a 30-year mortgage at 2.6%. And those payments are $1,441 a month, okay? And the taxes on that are $215 a month. Now, that's the basics. Now, for rent on the income side, you can rent the upper unit for $1,200. You could rent the lower unit for $1,000. So your monthly rent income is $2,200. Your monthly principal, interest, and taxes are $1,656. I got that by adding up your mortgage payment plus your taxes, your principal, interest, and taxes. So in this case, your cash flow is actually $544. Pretty good, right? That's pretty good. Would you say? That's pretty good. I'm here to say, that is not proper math. That is unsophisticated investor math. If anybody's trying to show you how to get into real estate and they're doing math like this, or if a real estate agent that you're working with is doing math like this, you're not working with the right team. Let me show you how to do the proper math. Now the basics stay the same. Your upper rent is $1,200, your lower rent's $1,000. So you get $2,200 of income, and your principal, interest, and taxes at $1,656 are the same. Nothing has changed so far. The thing is, you forgot a couple expenses that I want to make sure that you factor in, because your job as a real estate investment entrepreneur is to make sure that you put your time, effort, energy, and money into the right deals. And this is how you figure it out. Don't forget to factor in your property management at 10%. That's $220 a month in this case. Now, I know what you're thinking, because I thought the same. You're thinking, but I'm going to do it myself on the first house and the second, the third, and the fourth. I'm going to do it myself. 100% perfect. That's good. Nothing wrong with you doing your own property management. I just want you to factor it in anyways. You know why? 2 reasons. 1, you may find out that you hate it and you may want to sub that out. And if you've done the math right, then you'll have the option of subbing it out. Or secondly, your portfolio, and this is what happened to me and happens to so many others, your portfolio gets so big that you can't end up doing it all. And you're going to figure out very soon that it's more profitable, in fact, for you to sub out the property management and you focus on going to get some more deals. So make sure you factor in the property management. Then repairs and maintenance, same 10%. That's $220. Don't forget vacancy at 5%. Now, I know that vacancy right now, for example, in my investment markets, 1% right now. I haven't had any vacancy in the last 5 years. Incredible. But I still factor it into my budget. Why? Because at some point it will happen. You will get vacancy. And I'll be ready for it because I've budgeted for it. So if you do it this way and you add in, don't forget your insurance is $80. So your operational costs are actually $2,071. Now, that leaves you with monthly cash flow of $129, not $550. Question is, so this is different. You can see the math. One's obviously looks a lot better, but it's not accurate. The second one doesn't look quite as good, but it's accurate. In fact, you're probably going to make more cash flow than this because you won't have the vacancy and so on and so forth. So it's a question of looking at it properly. But real estate investment entrepreneurs, the sophisticated ones, this is how they do the math. The question is, do you buy it? At $129 a month in cash flow, do you buy it? That's the question. Write down an answer on your piece of paper. On your notes, write yes or no. The answer is, it depends. We got to continue. That's only one way to win. Remember, I told you there's 5 ways to win. This is a 5-course meal. You've only had the appetizer. You only had your shrimp cocktail. You're not full yet. You want to continue this meal. So let's continue. So when you purchased it for $450. Now you invested, say in this case, $99,000 of cash. The reason is it was $90,000 for your down payment, plus about $9,000 of closing and carrying costs in this case. Your cash flow is $129 a month times 12 months. So that's $1,548 for the year. Now here comes your first calculation, which is your cash on cash return. So if you divide 1,548 divided by 99,000, that's your cash on cash return. That's 1.6% in this case. I got to tell you, no one's getting rich on 1.6%. No one's getting rich on $1,548 a year in cash flow. But let's look at the next thing. What about the future value? What if we factor in that this property is going to appreciate at 2%? And in 5 years' time, it's going to be worth about $497,000, meaning your appreciation is responsible for $47,000 of appreciation. Now the numbers look like this. That's a 55% return on investment, or a 9.9% annualized rate of return on your $99,000. That's much better. We went from 1.6 to 9.9, and total we're looking at 55%. That's pretty good. It's getting there. But you know what? That's only your second. You're only through the salad. You haven't even had your main entree yet. So let's look at that. So the principal buy down is my absolute favorite. Now I want to address something before I move on. You notice in my previous slide, the appreciation, I calculated the appreciation at 2%. Guys, that is ultra super duper conservative, especially in Ontario where the market's relatively flat. In Alberta, it's different. It dips, it goes up and down. It goes up by 15, 20, and then it comes, and then it dips. But in Ontario, it's fairly slower grind. For example, in Peterborough, Orillia, Huntsville, the market's on average been going up 8 to 15% every year for the last 5 years. I still only calculate at 2 to 3% appreciation when I'm running these numbers. That's because I want to be ultra, ultra conservative. So that's that. Now, as it relates to principal buy down, the reason it's the entree There's one reason and one reason only, and I want you to jot this down in your notes. Write down guaranteed. Guaranteed. That's my French coming out. Guaranteed. Guarantee in French for my Quebec friends. The reason it's guaranteed is your cash flow is pretty darn accurate, but cash flow will go up and down with it's a business. So cash flow is always going to go up and down. Appreciation depends on a little bit on the market, but principal buy down, that sucker's guaranteed. And in this case, you started with a $360,000 mortgage. In 5 years, your mortgage is only $309,210. That's a $50,790 principal buy down. And let me ask you this question: who paid that? Who paid that? Yeah, that's right, your client. The tenant paid that. This is free money and it's guaranteed. This adds up to $846.50 every single month. Remember that ATM I was talking about? Every single month, $846 guaranteed. So now if you factor this in, look at your return. You're looking at a $97,790 return, which is on average about 20.25% per year. And guys, that's just 5 years. Imagine 10, imagine 15, imagine 25. And I just really want to drive this point home because 20.75% per year on this example is amazing. And some of you are thinking, really, is it that good? Look at this guy. You guys know this. This is Warren Buffett. He's the billionaires of billionaires. And on average, his average over the course of his career since 1965 is 19.7% return on investment. That's his average. And he's amassed this incredible fortune in the almost $100 billion. 19.7 is his average. And I just showed you one for 20.25 for your 5 year, which is incredible. So imagine the power of this over the course of time. Now, step 5 is your market. Know your market. Where are you going to invest? See, if you live in Perth, Ontario, not sure if you guys know where that is, a little community outside of Ottawa. Do you invest in Perth, Ontario? Do you invest in Ottawa? Do you come to Peterborough? Do you invest where I'm telling you to invest? See, I don't want to fish for you. I want to teach you how to fish for yourself. And I got to tell you guys, after 26 years of Rain doing this, 151,000 clients, $5 billion of deals, we've developed a pretty kick-ass system, and we've developed a step-by-step formula, which is guaranteed to work every single time. And this is what it looks like. This is what we call the long-term real estate success formula, and it looks like this. See, everything starts from gross domestic product. If you have growing gross domestic product in that city, in that region, that's going to lead to employment growth. It has to, which is going to lead to population growth. Why? Because people go where the jobs are. That's going to lead to increased rental demand, because when someone moves to a city, they need a place to live. And they don't buy typically right away, they rent right away. So they rent for a couple of years before they buy. Now, if population is going in and this is increasing the rental demand, that's decreasing vacancies. When your vacancy decreases, what does a landlord do? They raise the rents. This increases the rents. At some point, the rents get high enough that people say, you know what? I can buy a place for the same price as this. So that increases property purchase demand, which increases property prices. This is the long-term real estate success formula. If you make sure that and it all starts with the GDP, guys. If you make sure that your investment city or region meets this criteria, you will be successful more often than not, way more often than most, because you're following this real estate success formula. Now, it's the same, by the way, in the opposite direction. If your gross domestic product is falling, then that's going to lead to people growing unemployment, which means when there are no jobs, people end up leaving, which is going to mean that people are going to leave their rentals, which means that's going to decrease demand and increase vacancies. And when vacancies increase, what do you do as a landlord? You bring your price down. Why? Because you need to compete. So you bring your price down, then the prices get so low in the rental market, people, instead of buying, just end up renting for that much longer, which decreases the property prices. So whether it's the long-term success formula or the economic turmoil formula, it's the same formula, just in the opposite direction. So look and be very careful as to where you invest. Now, it's not just about that. Even though that's the meat and potatoes of the economic research, it all comes down to market influencers as well. These are influencers. This is like the sides around your steak and potatoes, if you will. The formula is the steak and potato. This is your accoutrements, if you will. There's my French coming up again. Your accoutrements around your steak and potato. Here it is. Financing. So this is the interest rates and the ease of borrowing. This influences the market. And these are macro influencers, by the way, on a macro scale. Inflation. What's the inflation at? Is it 1%, 2%, 3%? Are we stagflation? What is it? These are market influencers. Global trends. This is foreign investments, trade agreements, like the current NAFTA agreement. Same with the financing. Right now, the government's made it tougher than ever to get financing. So that plays a role on the economic, on the influence, because it's an influencer. And then those are macro influencers. There's also micro influencers. Here they are. Infrastructure. I'm going to give you a great story on infrastructure in a second. Great story about Patrick. So the accessibility to land, air, sea, and what we call the transportation effect, this is a micro influencer. So if like, for example, in Peterborough, where I am, the 407, which is the toll highway from Toronto, is coming essentially almost to Peterborough. This is going to make a big difference. It's going to be a major influencer on our market. If you look at Barrie and how much that has skyrocketed in the last 20, 15 years, that's because the GO train went to Barrie. If you look at Hamilton, it's because the GO train went to Hamilton. These infrastructure plays are major market influencers. The next one's political climate. Who's in power? Whether Trudeau's in power, whether it's the Liberals, whether it's the Conservatives, all of these things make a difference and they influence the market, albeit they're not the steak and potato. They're not the long-term success formula. And that long-term success formula, by the way, is an 18-month cycle. Keep that in mind. So the elections plays a role. For example, in Ontario, we just finished an election. The ripple effect. This one you guys all pretty much know. If people can't afford downtown Toronto, they start going a little further. Then they end up in Scarborough and Richmond Hill and North York, and then they can't afford there anymore, so they go a little further. They end up in Oshawa, Newmarket, and Hamilton. Then they can't afford there, they go a little further. They end up in Grimsby, Orillia, and Newcastle. So the ripple effect of the market, also an influencer. And the last one is gentrification. These are community plans. These are cities. And I have an example of a gentrification project I've invested in. I'll give you that example tonight. So these are cities gentrifying, beautifying, called beautification projects, beautifying different parts of the city. So let's look at an example. So Patrick Francoeur, who was my great host here and introduced me, thank you for that again, Patrick. He has an excellent, amazing story about how $1 million mistakes do happen if you plan for them. Now, here's a perfect display of resourcefulness. Now, 20 years ago when Patrick first got started, like he said, he was in his business, he was just starting out, and the business space that he was leasing, he wanted to buy it. And the seller wanted to sell it to him, and the seller wanted, and by the way, this is an astronomical number 20 years ago in Edmonton, the seller wanted $400,000 for it. And Patrick was just getting started and he couldn't make the deal work. But Patrick was very, very smart, incredibly intelligent, and had the foresight to negotiate an option to buy the building in 5 years. The seller said, sure, this is great. So the seller signs on it. They do it. Patrick rents the space for 5 years. And 5 years later, now they got to renegotiate the lease. The seller says, okay, we're going to double your lease rate because values have gone up that much. Patrick says, you know what? I'm going to take that option to buy. I'm going to exercise on that option to buy. Now, at the time that he exercised that, it was, the building originally was worth $400,000. When he exercised that option to buy, the building was worth $800,000. That's a $400,000 gain, and Patrick was able to buy for the original $400,000. And today, that building's worth $1.8 million. We are talking about an accidental $1 million mistake when you plan for them. So negotiating a buy option in a later time is a great idea. And the reason this works so well is, yes, it was incredible foresight for Patrick to negotiate the buy option. That was brilliant. But what really was brilliant is Patrick had the research and did the research to look at where this building was, he knew, and he explained this to me in the story, he knew that the traffic only had two places to go. Either they were going to build right in front of him or they were going to build right beside him, because Edmonton was just going there. He was on the perfect location, and he knew that the market influences of transportation and the ripple effect were going to drive the traffic there, and that's exactly what happened. 5 years later, the building doubled in value, and now it's more than quadrupled in value. So excellent job, Patrick, and a good example of how paying attention to influencers makes a difference. Now, folks, we're coming up here on step 6, and I hope you found this helpful. By the way, please put it in the chat. If you like this, if you're enjoying this, please put it in the chat. Let me know. It'd be awesome. I appreciate it. Step 6, and this is funny because now we're really talking about real estate and what you thought you may have been coming here for, which is the strategies, the fix and flips, and all this stuff. I'm going to talk about it now. I'm going to talk about step 6, which is knowing your strategy. But before I do that, let's look at our progress. Let's look at what we've covered already. First of all, we covered why real estate. That's very clear now. Hopefully it's clear, super clear to me. I hope it's clear to you as to why real estate. Number 2, we overcame the 8 great weights, the things that stop you from getting into real estate, the things that stop you from really getting anything you want in life. Then we zeroed in on a target. Now that we've gotten rid of the 8 great weights, we've zeroed in on a target. Then we completed some math, and we know the market to invest in. So it's now time to figure out what strategy is best. Let me talk about these strategies. The first one is the one you know, and the foundation to the industry, which is buy and hold. This is a strategy where you invest money today and you create wealth later. This is not an active income strategy. You are going to buy it, hold it. You're going to use the 5 ways to win in real estate, and you're going to create wealth later. This is really the foundation to this, to all real estate. And many of you are going to do this. You should definitely be doing it. The question is, which market, and I'm going to talk about this next, which market is it best to do a buy and hold? On the flip side, and by the way, this is what I've done most of, is buy and hold. You know why? Because you're going to choose, and this is, oh, and please write this down, jot this down if you're taking notes. Your strategy depends on 2 things, just 2 things. 1, most importantly, what's your objective? See, when I got into real estate, my number 1 objective at the time, many years ago, was retirement. See, I knew that as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, I knew that I didn't have an employee pension. I knew that I didn't have some type of pension. I had to figure it out myself, and I had made a decision, a committed decision, that real estate was going to be that. And my plan was simple. I was going to buy enough real estate to create myself a killer pension. So I figured out how many $1 million I needed of real estate. I bought that amount of real estate using the strategies that we're going to teach you. I bought that amount of real estate, and I said, okay, I'm done. Now I'm holding. Then I changed my objective because that one had accomplished. But what strategy you use depends on A, your objective, your target. What is it that you want? Always remember that. And number 2, what market you're in. Perfect example is fix and flip. This, by the way, is the strategy that you see most often on the shows. This is the TV shows that you see, the fix and flips. And this is where they fix it, they buy it, they fix it, they flip it to someone else, they sell it. And this strategy is incredible. This strategy is an active income strategy. If you want to increase your cash flow to your pocket, this could be a great strategy for you, but not in all markets. And I'm going to talk about that next. But and I'm not going to talk so much about fix and flip tonight, and simply because there's enough TV shows on it. And you're asking yourself the question, because this is what I would ask. There's so many people doing fix and flip today. Does it still work? The answer is 100% yes, if it's the right market. It doesn't work in every market. I'll give you a perfect example. I have a friend of mine, a joint venture of mine, who's done incredibly well in the last several years in the Hamilton market doing fix and flip. But with the new mortgage rules and the new influencer things that have come into play, the macro influencers and the micro influencers that came into play in the last 6 months, it's no longer a good fix and flip market in Hamilton. So just understand that fix and flip is a phenomenal strategy at the right time in the right market. Okay, enough on that. Here's the second fix and flip strategy, which most people don't talk about, and it's frankly my favorite. It's frankly my favorite, which is called Fix and flip back to you. Write that down. Fix and flip back to you. Now this is where you buy something that's maybe a little bit run down, a little bit beat up, a little undervalued. You fix it up, and then you flip it back to you. You refinance it, and you become the new buyer again. I'll show you an example because I just did this recently, just a few months ago. This is a project called Bethune that I purchased. This was an old rundown single family home on probably one of the worst streets in Peterborough. If you know Peterborough, you're thinking, oh my gosh, I can't believe you bought on this street. Well, let me tell you why. And I can't believe I'm going public with all this because now all the great properties on Bethune are gonna get bought up. But check this out. I bought this property for $257,000. These are real numbers, guys. I'm just showing you my experience. I want you to see that this is possible for you as much as it's possible for me. I didn't make these numbers up. I'm sharing you real numbers. I bought this property for $257,000. I put $10,000 into closing and carrying this property. Now I invested $30,000 in 1 month of time into renovations. I gutted the place from top to bottom. I redid all the floors. I redid the kitchens. Instead of a 4-bedroom, 1-bathroom, I made it a 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom. I made it open concept. I completely opened it up. Incredible. You can see some pictures on the right there. That's the finished work. Redid all the outside, redid the front deck. Beautiful century home. Incredible. Now I'm into it. I put in 257 plus 10, that's 267. Plus I invested an extra 30. So I'm into it now for $297,000. Everybody follow my math? Cool. After the work is done, I get it reappraised by the bank. It reappraises for $350. Now at an 80% loan to value ratio, that means I could pull out $280,000 out of this property. Okay. So look at the return on investment on a fix and flip back to you. So my return on investment is I invested total, I'm $17,000 into this property now. How did I get that number? Well, I invested, like I said, originally 297, which is 257 plus 10 plus 30. That's 297. I reappraised for 350 and I pulled 280 out of it. So now I'm into it for 297 minus 280, which is 17. So I'm into this for only $17,000, which is incredible, by the way. My net cash flow on this puppy after renovations, get this, $500 a month or $6,000 total. That's a 35% return on investment, just considering cash on cash. Or already, you know this is going to be a home run. Plus, if I add in appreciation, plus if I add in the mortgage pay down, you're looking at a total ROI of 474% on this bad boy. Absolutely incredible property. And it's not so much the property. I didn't buy this thing. 257 was the market rate for it. I did not get a great deal. It's not like I bought a $300,000 property for 257. That was the market rate. But the fact is I did the right renovations. I put in the right amount of time and I did it right. I did the fix and flip back to you. So jot that down. It's an amazing strategy. The last one I'm going to talk about is rent to own. Now, rent to own provides superior cash flow, and it also provides a guaranteed exit. The reason is when you're doing a rent to own, if the market rent is say $1,500, a rent to own, you might charge $1,800 because there's a certain amount of money that's going into a bank, which is going to become their deposit. So this provides superior cash flow to you. Plus, probably one of the best parts is it's a guaranteed exit. You have a buyer. You've already lined up a buyer. And these rent to own deals can be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years, depending on how you set it up. And there's nobody better than Rachel Oliver who's pulled this off. She's now become a best-selling author. She's a real estate investment entrepreneur. And I'll tell you this, she had a traditional game plan. You know, she went to school, got a good job, actually got a great job, high-paying job, executive at Pepsi, but she wasn't fulfilled. And what she wanted, coming back to the target, she wanted freedom of purpose. She wanted to be in line with her purpose. She wanted to link paycheck to purpose. And she found her calling in real estate. She thinks she can too. What she does, she only does rent to own deals. Why? Because she loves being able to help someone get into a deal. She loves to be able to help provide someone the freedom of home ownership. She loves to help people get into real estate by getting her properties. And just in the last 7 years, she's done 150 rent to own deals. Incredible. And so you can find your passion and you can find your purpose in real estate. Now, step 7, and this is the second last one, is you want to match the market to the strategy. Now, I've showed you how to find your market with the long-term success formula, the micro influencers and the macro influencers. And then I showed you 3 strategies. There's more, but I can only cover 3 in this particular class. And I'm almost done, guys. I'm going as quick as possible. I hope you're really enjoying this. But just understand that every event, every market goes through a cycle. There's a boom, there's a slump, there's a recovery, and there's 3 parts within that. And this is something that our incredible research team does an amazing job researching all of our markets, so we can tell our clients exactly where they are. But for now, just suffice it to say that there's a boom, a slump, and a recovery, and there's parts of that. Now, based on where you are in the cycle, you got to match that up to the right tactic, the right strategy. A perfect example is the fix and flip. And I was telling you this story a while ago. See, the way to look at it is every strategy is a tool belt. It's a tool in your tool belt. And if the only tool you have in your tool belt is a hammer, you know what? Everything looks like a nail. But if you have multiple tools in your tool belt, then you can start to do some real damage. You can do some real good things. And here's what it looks like. So fix and flip. Remember I was telling you? Everyone's doing fix and flip. Is it good? It's a great strategy in the right market at the right time. For example, if you're at the end of a boom or the beginning of a slump or even the middle of a slump, man, I'd avoid it. It's tricky and I'd avoid it. So don't do it then. But at the beginning of a boom, beautiful, optimal. On the flip side, look at buy and hold. If you look at buy and hold and you follow buy and hold, at the end of a boom cycle, you should not be doing buy and hold. Not a good time. But at the end of a slump or the beginning of a recovery, fantastic. So you got to match the market. This is why I was saying, guys, ladies and gentlemen, from the beginning, I am literally giving you a crystal ball of real estate in your hand. You can predict the future by doing the market analysis, by knowing the strategies, and by matching them. Man, you're unstoppable. But really, all of this, folks, all of this, unfortunately, is for nothing unless you're in action. See, a lot of people think that by being in motion, they're in action. Good example is coming on this webinar is being in motion. It's not being in action. Doing the work that I just showed you, following the 8 steps, doing your first deal, that's action. Being here and learning, that's motion. And a good example of that is Derek Peaver. See, 11 years ago, Derek had an incredible encounter with actually one of our clients. Incredible encounter. He drove her somewhere and she was talking about real estate. Okay. Derek was paying attention. He picks up on this and he decides to take action, not be in motion, take action. And he becomes a client of ours. He ends up getting into real estate. And now it's been 11 years and he's done over 100 real estate transactions, 100, because he was in action. Now here's the kicker of this story. It's not that he did 100. That's amazing. Congratulations, Derek. It's that his friend Dave was in the car with him. He heard the exact same story. He got the exact same information, but he didn't do anything about it. He decided to play it safe. He decided to wait. He decided to be in motion, learn a little more. You know what? That friend is still struggling today. That friend is still, and there's people on this live event that are going to be in this position where some of you are going to go out and you're going to use these 8 steps I taught you and you're going to make it happen. Others, you're going to wait. You're going to wait till we do the next one. You're going to wait till we do the next one. You're going to consider those 8 great weights, but you're really going to wait. And that's why they're called the 8 great weights, because they're heavy and you end up waiting. So folks, if you've enjoyed tonight, we are doing a boot camp. September 14 to 16, write that down, September 14 to 16 in Toronto, north of Toronto. It's going to be at this place called Universal Event Space, incredible place. And our boot camp is called the Real Estate Investment Entrepreneur Boot Camp. Now it retails for $1,997, and don't freak out just yet, just hold up. I'm going to give you a fast action bonus because you're here, because you moved into action. I got to tell you this, I got my start somewhere. And as a result, I got lucky and someone gave me a chance. Now I had to take action. I had to put my money down and I had to take action, but someone cut me a break, and I'm going to cut you a break tonight. So I'm going to cut you a break. So let's get through this. But before I tell you the final price, and it's going to be incredible, just stick with me. let me tell you the 5 modules we are going to cover at this bootcamp. There's 5 modules. First of all, we're going to cover your why. See, planning for financial freedom doesn't happen by accident. In fact, it's crazy. It's super intentional, and there's a proven formula, and we've been teaching it for 26 years. 151,000 clients, $5 billion of deals, but there's a proven formula. This is like a science. This isn't art. You're not painting a canvas here. There's a science to getting rich, and it starts with your why, and we're going to show you exactly how to do it. Then we're going to show you, we're going to get into detail on your market. Where should you invest? Now, I gave you the long-term success formula and the influencers tonight, but let's get into details. Let's get into your market. Let's find out if your market is good. Let's find out where you want to invest, and let's look at the data. Let's look at the reports. Let's look at the top 10 towns. Let's look at the transportation effect. Let's look at all these details. We're going to do that at the bootcamp. Then we're going to consider your strategies. I showed you 3 of them today, but there's more. I'm going to show you a total of 6 strategies that you can do, because the ultimate control here is matching your market to your strategy. If you can find the right market and pick the right strategy, man, it's hard to lose. It's hard to lose. One of the beauties is when you do find the right market and you do know the right strategy, then you got to find the property. And we've developed a proprietary system called the Property Goldmine Scorecard to ensure that you maximize your 5 ways, to make sure that you maximize your return on investment. We're going to make sure this sucker's a game winner for you every single time. We cover this in the Property Goldmine Scorecard, again, done in the bootcamp. And the last thing is we give you a graduation plan, not a graduation plan, not a graduation plan, but a graduation plan. Because like I said, being in motion means nothing to me. Being in action means everything. And we're going to show you a step-by-step game plan so you can get into action right away within the next 6 months. Whether you have 0 real estate now and you want to get into the game, we'll show you strategies. We're going to show you strategies on how to get rid of all of your 8 great weights, and we're going to give you a game plan. If you've got 5 doors, you want to make it 10, we'll show you how in this graduation plan. Now, folks, your why is everything that you're fighting for. You're going to complete at this program a vision, and you're going to know exactly what it is you're interested in, whether you want to buy a dream car, whether you want fancy vacations, travel the world, or you might want to just be with your family. Your why is critical. We're going to go through that. We're going to cover all of the market, everything, digging deep into economic fundamentals, showing you the success formula that we've developed over 26 years. Then that tool belt, baby, that tool belt. We're going to show you 6 tools. Your tool belt's going to be fully loaded by the time we're done this boot camp so that you can analyze those properties and make them count. You can maximize your ROI so that you can take that graduation. Now, folks, 26 years we've been doing this. 26 years. And I got to tell you, after 151,000 clients, $5 billion of deals, 38,000 properties purchased, and so many boot camps across the country, I am humbled to be here, and I'm excited to give you this special offer. I got to tell you, there's no education on the planet that's like this. We are dedicated and committed to making you a real estate investment entrepreneur. Now, this comes with everything, all 5 modules. The boot camp, and write this down, is Friday evening, Saturday and Sunday. Saturday all day, 9 to 6. Sunday all day, 9 to 5. And you're going to be, it's going to be in Toronto. I mentioned that. And the price is typically $1,997. But today only, you can get it for $597. Okay, so write that down. Jot those modules down and write that price down. Okay, now all of this is available. Okay, and there's a limited number of tickets, guys, and I'll talk about that in a second. But if you want single attendance, it's $597. It's a $2,000 value. Double attendance, you want to bring a guest? You want to bring someone for free? Oops, am I muted here? Oh no, sorry. If you want to bring a guest, you can't. We're going to charge a little upcharge for you to bring someone. So it's going to be $797. So you get 2 people, double attendance. That's $4,000 worth of value for only $797. You guys both get to come. You both get all the value. You both get everything for only $797. Absolutely incredible. Now, folks, I'm going to give you 2 bonuses, and I'm going to tell you what to do to get in on this. First thing, you can't lose. Remember I told you about the principal buy down where it's guaranteed and you can't lose? This is the same thing. You know why? Because I am personally guaranteeing satisfaction. I am personally guaranteeing satisfaction. If you're not 100% satisfied by the end of the Friday night, by the end you come, you participate, we give you absolutely everything. If you're not blown away and 100% satisfied and just blown away, we're going to refund you. We're not interested in helping clients that don't want to be helped or don't see the value in our program. I got to tell you, folks, this has never happened. This has never happened. But I'm making an option for you. You're 100% guaranteed to win. If you don't like it, we give you your money back. The second thing is we have a $297 bonus welcome Kickstarter kit. Now this is, you're going to get 2 books. You're going to get the Real Estate Investing 2.0 in Canada book, and you're going to get the Secrets to the Canadian Real Estate Cycle book, and you're going to get a 3-step video done by our CEO, Patrick Francoeur, and our Vice President of Research and Development, Jennifer Hunt, on getting you started before you come to the boot camp. And the reason for this is I want you coming ready. I want you coming ready to conquer the world. There's a little bit of homework you want to do before. I want you to do it so when you come, you're ready to move. See, this isn't about gradu-motion. This is about gradu-action. This is about moving you into action, not moving you into motion. So we're going to give you some work ahead of time. And this is a Kickstarter kit. This is ready to make you have 2 books, 3 videos, all yours, and you get them instantly. As soon as your purchase is done, you're going to get, the books are going to be shipped out, and shortly thereafter, you're going to get the videos. Now, if you want to take action on this, guys, I got 10 tickets that I've carved out for this evening's session. I got 10 tickets. If you want, put your information in the chat. Put your first name, your last name, and your phone number, and someone from our team is going to contact you. Someone from our team is going to call you and get your order processed. So put your first name, your last name, and your phone number in the chat, and you're going to get this fast action bonus. So instead of $2,000, it's only $597. If you want to bring 2 people, if you want to bring someone else, and that could be, by the way, a spouse, could be a business partner, could be a life partner, could be a husband, could be a wife, could be a brother, anybody that you want to bring. Double attendance is only $797, okay? You guys both get everything. You both get everything for $797, or single attendance for $597. Absolutely incredible value. If you're interested, put your information in the chat, your first name, your last name, and your phone number, and someone will call you right away this evening, get your order processed, get it done. Now, a couple questions. Keep putting your info in the chat, guys. I know there's a lot of people who are already putting their info in the chat. We're going to make sure that we get you in. If you've stayed this long throughout this entire event, and thank you, by the way, thank you so much for sharing this time with me. And I hope that you got a ton out of it. But there's a couple questions we've gotten. I've been sent a few questions to answer. So let me answer them. Okay. The first question is, can I bring a business partner? Yes. Okay. I think I just mentioned that, but in case I forgot, you could definitely bring a business partner. You could definitely bring a spouse. The double attendance is good for anybody. Okay. So double attendance, $797. And if you want to come single attendance, $597. So that's all good. Perfect. Excellent. And yes, you get access to absolutely everything. Now, another question I'm getting, hold on. Okay, what about cyclical industries like oil and gas? Are they good investments? Absolutely. So we have a massive, massive following in Western Canada, where, as you know, oil and gas is a big part. Actually, Patrick Francoeur is a massive investor in the oil and gas industry, fields in those markets. And the fact is they are excellent investments. Now, I will tell you this. You have to follow the same fundamentals. You have to follow our system, but you have to pay real close attention to the influencers. See, the influencers are a key part out there. They are a key part to the market going up or the market going down, and they go with the price of gas, price of oil and gas. But it doesn't mean that they're not good investments. They're absolutely great towns for investment. They just have higher peaks and higher valleys. That's it. So absolutely a great question. Another question is, how are you going to get the books? How are we going to ship you the books? The answer is, we are going to mail them to you. So we're going to need, when you get your order processed, we're going to get all the orders and we're going to process that, and you're going to essentially get that via mail, and you're going to get it right away. Okay. That's another question that people are asking. I'm just going to put this screen back up here, leave it here. Another question people are asking is, what do you cover in your videos? Well, what we cover in your videos is we want to put you in a position for you to succeed. We want you to put you in a position where you could really move forward fast at the boot camp. See, you going to boot camp and just learning some more, that's great. But you going to boot camp, learning and being ready to move is even better. So that's what the videos are covering. Another question I'm getting is, what if I don't have oodles of money in the bank right now? What if I don't have tons of capital to get this started? Well, first of all, there's strategies for that. We will show you joint venture strategies, and we're going to show you strategies on how to raise funds. Now, the fact is real estate does require you to have some funds, or at least have access to funds. Okay, now that could be a line of credit, or it could be some other debt facility of some way, shape, or form. But I would tell you this, that we have within our network of our company, we have some incredible finance partners. And I've done this exercise with so many people, but I can tell you that there's money locked up inside of you. There's money locked into your life that you don't think you have access to, that you do have access to. For example, refinancing an old property, or refinancing your house, or refinancing your primary residence. All of these things are possible. And all of these things, and we have solutions to help you. So I will tell you this, if you don't have the 597 to get in, then don't do it. Be very honest with you. Do not do it. But everyone on this call does. You came here for a reason, and you came here with a purpose. And you came here with some ability to move forward. And the fact is if you can't put together $597 to come to the boot camp, you're probably not right for this. And you know why? The 8 great weights are just a little too heavy for you right now. But I will tell you this, if you want to move out of your own way, if you want to move out of your comfort zone, this is the place you got to be. I'm getting some more questions. Excellent, that's great. I got a question about what stage Barry is in right now. It's a great question. That is something we're going to cover in detail at the boot camp. We're going to cover in detail what stage of these major markets are in: Barrie, GTA, Hamilton, Peterborough, Aurelia, these various things. Now, because the markets move, and it's important, and markets are always in flux, and we're always doing research. Every single month, we actually issue research reports to our clients on where the markets are at. We're going to cover that in detail. We're going to provide you with some answers, but we're also going to show you how you can find the answer for yourself. See, a big part of what we do is we want you to fish for yourself. We don't want to just feed you. We want you to teach you so you can fish for yourself. So we're going to show you that at boot camp, but it's a great question. That is something that we cover at the boot camp. Another question is this going to happen in Edmonton? I can tell you that in the fall, we are going to do one of these boot camps in Calgary. I don't have a specific date, but I can tell you we will do it in Calgary. I can also tell you that the price at $597 is not going to stay this price. This is a fast action bonus for this event, okay? The next time you see it, it could very well be more. Now, if you're interested in this, the person who's asking the Edmonton question, I would buy the ticket, and in the fall, we are going to do one in Calgary. So no worries, we're going to do one in Calgary, and you can attend that one. Great question, by the way, great question. Now, another question we get all the time is with regards to the various markets. People are always curious to see if their town, where they live, where is it on the boom? Is it a bust? Is it in recovery? Is it a good market to invest in? Again, this is something that requires Jennifer Hunt does an incredible segment that's about 4 hours long on economic fundamentals. And this is something we're going to teach you. This is something that we're going to show you how you can do and find out. I can tell you this, there's plenty of people who invest outside of where they live. Meaning if you're in a particular area, you might invest a little bit outside of your area. You may not invest necessarily right in your backyard. And this is totally okay. And the reason for that is because it's important to invest where you're going to get the best return on investment, but most importantly, where it's the safest for you to put your money in. This is something we talk about a lot in the economic fundamentals. This is something where we show you where it is, we want to minimize your risk and maximize your return. If you're jotting notes down, write that down. Minimize your risk and maximize your return. That is something we talk about in the boot camp, and we go through the economic analysis in terms of where you stand. Now, folks, there's a ton of you still on this line, and you've either put your information in the chat and you're ready to go, or you love my voice. But unfortunately, I got to bring this in for a close. I got to bring this in for a landing. And if you're still on this line, if you're still sitting here, you're thinking you're going to do this. I think you're still here because you want to do this. You just need some push, or you just need some nudge. Like I said, the fact is, this is a risk-free offer, guys. It is 100% satisfaction guaranteed. If you don't absolutely love it, if you're not blown away, and by the way, I'm going to be at the boot camp myself. Patrick Francie, our CEO, is going to be at the boot camp himself. Jennifer Hunt, our Vice President of Research and Development, she will be there herself. There's a whole team there to educate you and help you. And I got to say, this is a risk-free offer. You don't get these kinds of things very often. There's literally no risk for you in this. You just got to get in, but you got to jump off. You got to jump off that ledge. You have to make that commitment. And like I said, we are going to help you, because I'll tell you this, and I wasn't planning on telling this story, but let me tell it and I'll finish with this. The biggest mistake made by real estate investors isn't the math. It's not the market. It's not the strategy. It's none of the things I talked about. It's a concept called paralysis by analysis, which means you're just stuck thinking about it all the time. You're just thinking, well, maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't. And I'll tell you this, I'm going to help you right now, hopefully with this, but hopefully in many things in your life. I want you to make a decision. If you're going to be in, then be in. If you're not, then don't. But don't sit on the fence. The worst thing for you in life is to sit on that fence, because you're just stuck. Do it, don't do it. Do it, don't do it. Do it, don't do it. And it's terrible. It hurts you. So I want you to make a decision right here, right now. There's still a ton of you on this call. You're either waiting for me to say what I'm about to say, or you've already put your chat in. And by the way, a ton of you have already put your information in. I've actually, Bonnie, who's our Vice President of Sales, who's also on the line, she asked me to bring it up from 10 tickets up to 15 tickets. And by the way, guys, a double attendance, that only counts as one ticket. So, there's a bunch of you taking a double attendance. I've brought it up from 10 to 15, but there's a ton of you that have already taken me up on this. So, but let me finish by saying this. Sitting on the fence is the worst possibility for you. You need to either do it or don't do it. And I'll tell you this, and I'll be quite frank with you. Whether you do this or don't do this makes very little difference. It actually makes no difference in my life. It doesn't. It doesn't matter to me if you do it or don't do it, but it could make a massive difference in your life. See, one small decision today, guys, over the course of time, gets spread out into a massive change. If you're at the top of a mountain and you move and you're about to drop a pin or a quarter or whatever you're going to drop a ball, and you move just 1 inch to the right, by the time that ball hits the bottom, you're going to be kilometers away from where you started. And the concept is it's a decision, and that's where you need to start. I want you to do it. I'm telling you right now, I want you to get in. I want you to take action on this. I want you to move, and I want you to come. I'm going to be there. I want to educate you. I want to help you. I want to make this happen with you. Why? Because it changed my life, and I know it could change yours, but I can't do this part for you. I can't. And I'm not here trying to put pressure on you guys. Seriously, if you want to do it, do it. If you don't, don't. But you got to make a decision. So many of you are on this call. You're still waiting. I urge you to do it. I'm going to leave the lines open. I'm going to take off now, but I'm going to leave the lines open for another few minutes for you to put your information in, your first name, your last name, your phone number. Get involved. Get involved. Now I'm getting a few. Okay, hold on. I got one more question. I'm being asked here to answer this question. The fix and flip back to you, does it follow the same timing as fix and flip? The answer is no, it doesn't. It doesn't follow the exact same timing. The reason is because a fix and flip back to you is different, because there's much more, you don't need a buyer, you just need to refinance, and that's different. So a good example is this Hamilton story I was telling you about. I got a business partner of mine, he's in Hamilton, and fix and flips is not working. Fix and flips to others is not working. Fixing and flipping it and selling it is not working anymore right now. And that's a short window, by the way. It might start working in 6 months again, but for the last 5 months and for the next 5 months, it's not working. The market's not there. But fix and flip back to yourself is working. The reason fix and flip back to you is working. And the reason that that's working is because you can still get a great appraisal on your work. The thing is there's not as many buyers out there to buy it. So you can't sell it, but you can refinance it through the bank. So that's the answer there. Fix and flip back to you. Different timing than fix and flip to sell to someone else. Now, there's a question about RSPs. This is something, again, we cover at the bootcamp. The answer is yes. I got a lot of people asking, is there a way to use RSPs to invest? The answer is yes. And these are tactics, these are strategies, these are in-depth, right? These are very advanced, but these are things that we teach and these are things that we do. And it's all done at the bootcamp. And simply because I can't cover absolutely everything here. I've kept everyone here for almost 95 minutes, which has been incredible. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for your patience and your effort. But yes, we do cover that, and it's totally worth you coming. Think about the potential. It's incredible. So folks, that's it. This is going to be the end. Put your information in the chat right now, your first name, your last name, and your phone number. Have someone from our team call you, get you signed up. Now, I'll tell you what, I'll tell you this. If you're sitting here and you're thinking, I got a question that maybe I didn't answer, or maybe it's a question that you don't want to ask on the chat, I totally understand. But put that information in the chat. Put your first name, your last name, put your phone number, and have someone from our team call you to answer your question. The absolute worst case scenario here, guys, is that you leave here, don't get a question answered that you wanted answered. You end up staying in motion for years to come, and you don't move on this incredible opportunity. So if you have a question, whether it's a question about buying or it's a question about the bootcamp, or you just want to get in, put your information in the chat and get in on this. Get a question answered, because that's what we're here for. We're here to serve. It's been 26 years, 151,000 clients, $5 billion of properties, 38,000 deals total properties. We're here to serve. And this is an incredible opportunity for you to come to the bootcamp and get this incredible experience, but you have to make a decision. So I'm going to leave it at that, folks. I'm going to leave the chat box open for another 2 minutes. So put your first name, your last name, your phone number in there. Get involved. There's still a couple tickets left, so you still get a chance. If you have questions, put your information in there anyways. Folks, I want to thank you. Thank you so much for indulging me. Thank you so much for being such a great audience. I know I can't hear the applause, but I feel like if I was live, I feel like I'd get applause. So thank you for that. Thank you for being such a kind audience. And again, I look forward to seeing you at the bootcamp. We'll see you soon.